Did you know that the iconic scene from Lady and the Tramp where the dogs eat spaghetti almost didn't happen? I'm serious.
Get on with the details.
When pitched the idea, Walt Disney couldn't wrap his mind around two dogs on a date sharing a noodle. Luckily, animator Frank Thomas drew up some storyboards that changed Walt's mind, securing the scene's place in cinematic history.
That's a grand sight.
To celebrate one of the most romantic and adorable scenes ever, I've teamed up with teen chef Kelley to show you all how to make spaghetti and meatballs. Okay, so Amber, I'm so excited to be cooking with you today. But first, I have a couple of questions for you. When did you start cooking? How long have you been doing this?
I cooked my first meal at 8 years old. It's been my life for a long time.
Where did your love for cooking start?
So my mom started teaching me how to cook when I was really little. She was like, oh, cooking's a great life skill, you know? And so she started teaching me more and more, and over time I just fell in love with it because I learned that if I cooked, I got to pick what I wanted to eat. So those sort of went hand in hand, and then I got to eat the foods that I loved.
Well, I am so excited because this is gonna be super fun.
Me
and we are making meatballs in honor of the Lady and the Tramp spaghetti and meatballs scene. I am so ready. Let's do this.
The first step is about a tablespoon of grapeseed oil in the pan and heat it up on medium-high heat. Then onions. Over here, we've got this handy-dandy chopper. So this is gonna chop our onions with so little work. All you have to do is press it. It's like the easiest thing. So take one piece of onion, and then you can just press the top.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay, and then you just scoot it on over, and you can do another one.
Okay, so we are getting there. We have a couple more onions to chop. So while we finish up, why don't you guys check out this fun fact? The town where Lady and the Tramp takes place was inspired by Walt's hometown of Marceline, Missouri. Walt must have been really nostalgic for his childhood home that year because 1 month after Lady and the Tramp premiered, Disneyland opened featuring Main Street, USA, also inspired by Marceline.
Okay, so the onions have been cooking. It smells so good in here.
They smell amazing.
Next up, though, we gotta add in the garlic. This is a garlic press. All you do is press. Look at that. And you scrape it off. And then we're gonna add in some red pepper flakes. It adds a little bit of heat, but it's not too spicy for kids.
Okay.
So we just have to let that cook for a minute or so, and then we can add in everything else.
Awesome.
So what we're gonna add in next, we've got some oregano, bay leaves. You don't wanna eat these, but they add in a ton of flavor. It's sort of like a depth, you know? Then we have some canned tomatoes and salt and pepper. And we're just gonna let this simmer and bubble, and all the flavors are gonna melt together.
This is looking amazing. While this is cooking, why don't you guys simmer on this? After watching Lady and the Tramp, who hasn't wished for a puppy in a box for Christmas? So cute. Fun fact, this idea was inspired by real life. 1 year for Christmas, Walt Disney gave his wife Lillian a puppy he put inside a hat box, the same way Jim Deere gives Lady to Darling.
Look at that.
Only Lillian's new dog was not a Cocker Spaniel named Lady, but a chow named Sunny. Years later, Walt and Lillian had a poodle, which they did name Lady.
All right, so we're making the meatballs. Starting off, we gotta add in some onions. We have this grater right here, and I'm gonna grate my onion, and this just gets it into really small pieces, and it lets out some of the juices, which is gonna be really helpful. Just run this up and down and grate it like that. Perfect. And I'm gonna add in bread. We're just gonna throw this into the bowl. Okay, we're gonna dump it into the bowl with the bread.
Okay.
You wanna sort of like squish the bread down and just make sure it absorbs all of that flavor. And then just let this sit for like a minute and let it just absorb. So now we're gonna add in everything else. So you can press in some garlic.
Okay.
I have got some parsley over here, which I'm gonna throw in. Parmesan cheese. I'm gonna add in the egg. Everything's gotta get combined. Okay, this is looking good. So this is when it gets messy. So we're doing ground beef and chicken sausage just to make it a little bit healthier. You gotta get messy in the kitchen. That's the best part. Get in there and mix it all together. This looks pretty good. So now we gotta roll the meatballs. You don't wanna like pack them together. You want them to be sort of loose, like that. You can put it on this tray right over there.
All right.
And do that for the rest.
While we're making these meatballs, why don't we roll on a fun fact?
That was good.
Lady and the Tramp was not the only Disney animated feature Lady, Tramp, Bull, Peg, and Jock appeared in.
Aye, tell us, lassie.
They also made cameos in another Disney dog movie, 101 Dalmatians.
My.
Okay, so we just broiled these meatballs about 9 minutes on one side, then we flipped them over 5 minutes on the other side. So, if you wouldn't mind placing the meatballs into our sauce.
Not at all.
That has been simmering away. Yes. Oh, this is the best part, in my opinion.
So good.
Because this is when it comes all together, the smells, everything. Oh. 30 minutes, we gotta let these simmer on low with the lid on.
So now that we're getting to this step, it's really reminding me of the iconic spaghetti and meatball scene in Lady and the Tramp.
best scene.
What's your favorite part about that scene? Why do you think that it's like so impactful?
I think it's the noodle.
This is the night.
It was so adorable, but like that's what they're famous for, right? You know, that iconic noodle scene.
I feel like that's when Lady and Tramp fell in love.
Yes.
I love it. Something else that really struck me when I was rewatching the film is that the first time we see Tramp, we see him waking up in the morning, and he's going off to find his breakfast.
Now to dig up some breakfast.
And at Tony's, the sous chef comes out and he's like, hey! And he's like besties with Tramp. And I thought that that was so sweet.
You want your breakfast, eh?
He has like multiple homes, different foods at each home, you know. I thought that was really cute. But
That's so awesome. And speaking of that, did you know that Tramp wasn't actually his original name? There were a couple of other name options.
Really? I actually had no idea.
I know, it's really interesting. Let's check this out. Tramp was not his original name. Throughout the course of development and in various versions of the script, he was called Homer, Rags, and even Bozo.
Oh, hello, Butch.
At one point, he was just known as Mutt. Can you imagine if the movie was called Lady and the Mutt?
No.
Okay, so cooking the pasta is super easy. All you have to do is bring some water to a boil, and you can have a parent do that for you. Then you're just gonna add in some salt, throw in your pasta, and stir it all around. And then once it's cooked, you can just strain it in a colander and throw it in your sauce. So we're gonna pour this into our pot.
All right. That looks amazing.
Yeah. Okay, so with basil, we're gonna cut our basil with kitchen scissors.
Okay.
Which sounds a little bit weird, but hear me out on this one. So I've got some basil over here. And what I'm gonna do is tear off a bunch of pieces. I just stacked them up, and now I'm gonna roll it into like a little burrito. And then you just cut it into thin little strips like this. All right, so we've got our basil. We've also got some grated Parmesan cheese for a little bit extra, and now we can plate it.
Okay.
So a cool trick is you can twist it like this to give it some height. And then I'm gonna add in some meatballs.
Smells so good.
Okay, you can set it down here.
Okay.
You're gonna top it with some Parmesan cheese. You can add on some basil.
Voila!
Good job. Look at this.
Wow, it's
Gorgeous.
beautiful.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. One for you.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. It was so simple, too. We didn't even use a kitchen knife, you guys. Who says cooking has to be hard?
Pro.
You guys have to try this at home. This is fantastic.
They always say not to play with your food, but it's just too fun with spaghetti. This has been so much fun, you guys. Thank you so much for teaching me how to cook your spaghetti and meatballs recipe.
Of course, you did so well, and I'm so excited for all of you guys to try it at home.
You guys have to try this recipe. If you want to try this one or more fun recipes, you can check out disney.com/beyourbest.
And don't forget to check out my website, cookwithamber.com, for more fun recipes.
And as the dogs always say, bon appetit.
Something tells me it's supper time.
The Walt Disney Studios is proud to be part of Disney's commitment to healthy living. The Disney Check makes it easier for kids and families to identify healthier foods and beverages.